What's up, you guys? It's Sarah, and I have a movie review for you. On Friday, Joe and I went to go see the new Spider-Man film. I know it's been out for probably a month, and I can slowly hear my geeky card being ripped being shredded one by one. Before we get into this video, hello, my name is Sarah. I do a little bit of everything, so don't forget to like, to comment, subscribe, join this wolf pack, and let's get into the video. Spider-Man No Way Home was probably, I think I'm gonna say this, it was my favorite Tom Holland Spider-Man. The third one, I think, is officially my favorite. I loved it. But there are some bad and some good that I really liked about the film. The thing that I didn't really like is, like, the villains being cured and stuff. And Electro had this thing, electric thing strapped to his chest, and the green was, like, slowly taking out his electric abilities, and I don't know, I didn't like that. I think having that kind of power makes you you, but then again, he is like a super villain, and he's always going to use it for bad anyway. And if that were me, I'd rip that device out too. There's a reason why I'd be a villain or be a hero. This is another thing that I really disliked. It's like you never turn your back on a villain, even if it's to help your partner. Say, no, don't kill him and everything. And then Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man gets stabbed. Have you learned anything? Don't turn your back on the villain. That is how you die. But then, he's also a radioactive spider, so I doubt that this is more than like a tickle to him, I guess. But those are just like my two gripes. Being a villain and trying to cure them. And I was looking at Joe, I'm like, why? No! Don't be stupid, kid. But then you see that even though he's a radioactive spider, he's still very much human, with these great human, just like this human personality, or this human trying to help them out. And I don't know, it's like everyone would, if you were in that perspective, like, what would you done? Would you say, okay, just send them back to where they came from, whether if they lived or died, or like died by Spider-Man? Or would you do like Tom Holland's Spider-Man and say, no, this isn't right. I want to cure these people and for them to have a better outlook. The good thing, my two favorite action scenes, they were the bridge fight, Dr. Otto Octavius and Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And he's like, you're not my Peter Parker, or you're not my Spider-Man, or that was great. And their whole like fight was so good. And then Peter Parker, through like Stark and stuff, he got to control like the tentacles and stuff. I thought that was pretty badass. Oh my gosh, the apartment scene. Oh. The apartment fight between Norman Osborn and Spider-Man, it was so good. And that whole like scene was so good. And I'll tell you like why I really loved the villains in this more. I liked the original three, but I like the villains more. I'm getting sidetracked because my ADHD is showing, but that's okay. But that whole fight was beautifully just choreographed and done. Oh, I loved it. My favorite characters. And I was so pleased that Charlie Cox is back. That was such a great like show on Netflix to watch. It was like binge-worthy. And I was so bummed when like the Punisher, Jessica Jones, and the Daredevil all like had stopped filming, and it was the season finale. It was over for them on Netflix. But I'm so happy to see Charlie Cox. I couldn't stop like bouncing in my chair because I knew exactly who he was, and that he was a lawyer, and he caught that brick right in front of Peter. That was amazing. And again with like Tom Holland, he begins to like still grow on me as a character. And even like Tom Holland's Spider-Man, like I didn't like him in Civil War. I thought he was very, very annoying. And as I slowly watched these Spider-Man movies, I began to appreciate him more. And I began to really like this Spider-Man and really like Tom Holland. I think he's a great actor. And I can't wait to see him in more films. Zendaya is amazing in this film. And I felt so bad when Doctor Strange did that spell and like their memories were erased about Peter. And then Peter Parker comes back to get a coffee from MJ and he doesn't even like go into like talking to her. I was telling Joe, I'm like, why isn't he talking to her? Why? I want these two back. But then again, we'll probably get more into, that'll probably be more into future films that I'm going to be really excited about. Benedict Cumberbatch, I love him. Benedict Cumberbatch, I'm so happy to see him in this film. He's always so good at being Doctor Strange. I love his acting. I think it's really, really good. Jamie Foxx is in this film. He's such a great actor. And he plays this role amazingly. And that scene where we're surrounded by all these electrical wires in this kind of field, that whole scene was great. And Peter Parker had his friends on his chest as he was trying to fight Electro. Oh, great. And now we talk about William Dafoe. I love his acting. I loved him in the Tobey Maguire films. And it's just like when he's like Norman Oswald, he's like just totally like normal and okay. And then like I told this to Joe and said his jaw comes out and it's more like evil and sinister. That is like amazing, because then you could tell like it had like a switch on him. And that the villains for me in this film are my top favorite. The villains across the board. And seeing William Dafoe and Alfred Molina, it kind of gives you like a nostalgic feeling of how like, oh, you know, when the like superhero genre was just becoming, we see Tobey Maguire and we see these actors and Kirsten Dunst, and those were the films, and I still really love those films. We'll talk about Marissa Tomei. When I get sucked into a scene and the emotions come over me, like I can feel the scene and I can feel the connection between the actors, and it just goes into your soul. And as soon as May Parker dies, I was so upset. That was like one of the first times that I think I've ever cried in a theater. I cried real bad geeky tears because here she's standing up and then she's like, oh, I need to lay down. I need to lay. And oh my gosh, that got me. And then when it was revealed that Peter had blood on his hands, I just wept. Oh my gosh, I was so upset. I love Marissa Tomei. I love her as May Parker. Oh my gosh. And it was also funny with her character. She was telling Happy that, you know, I need boundaries. Telling Peter, I need boundaries from him. You know, this was nothing like serious. That school scene when you can just see their silhouettes. And oh, that's great filming, and I absolutely love them. I don't really get into like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. It's mostly been the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. But seeing this film, I just really love Andrew Garfield, and he's on my radar of like, oh, I should watch more movies on him. And again, like with William Dafoe and Alfred Molina, it's a nostalgic feeling with Tobey Maguire. It's just like, this is the stuff that I grew up on as like kind of getting into the geeky scene with Spider-Man, so I really, really loved it. And I love their chemistry that all three of these guys seem to have together. It's that, like, it's like that brother chemistry that you have with all three of these guys. So I really liked all their chemistry together. Oh, and there's a scene where they talk about how even their lives changed in another perspective, like how Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, he said, you know, after Gwen passed away, he just didn't want to do it and wrapped it up. And when Zendaya's MJ was falling, he caught her, and that scene was sold to me because then you could see him, his eyes welting and crying, and I was just like, yes. And then I started getting soaked into the scene, and I started feeling teary-eyed again. I just said, how dare this movie bring out the geeky tears in me. No one's supposed to see these geeky tears, not even Joe. But I'm just like, oh, no. But it was a beautiful movie. I really liked it. I don't know why it took me so long to watch this film. So I give it 4 out of 5 wolf howls. Middle of the credits, they show Tom Hardy's Venom. Eddie Brock, he's coming. Hopefully he's going to be coming more involved with Spider-Man, so it's going to be really, really cool. And then at the very end, they showed a trailer for Doctor Strange 2, and I'm so excited. I love Benedict Cumberbatch. I love Benedict Cumberbatch. That last name is hard for me to say, oddly. So I'm excited to watch that film. So I hope you enjoyed this lackluster video. Don't forget to like, to comment, subscribe, join this wolf pack. Comment down below, what's your favorite scene? Was this your favorite Spider-Man film? Or is there another Tom Holland Spider-Man movie that was your favorite? But anyway, thank you so much. Peace.